Good morning. Welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob. Yesterday, we completed an exercise that we engaged in together, and the goal was to deepen our self-awareness, especially around the differences between feeling bad about something that we may have done, which we have called rightful guilt, versus feeling bad about who we are, which we've called toxic shame. We'll be coming back to these more, but I wanted to take a short side trip today that I think is also highly relevant to our conversation of looking at psychological components of addiction and recovery, but adding some other elements to the mix as well. I just completed a 90-minute online interview with a therapist back east. His name is David Ward. He's a therapist and a musician, and he hosts a weekly show on musicians and mental health. He invited me to join him today. His show is called Musicians on the Record. You can find it online. And early on today, David asked me to describe to him how it is that I understand addiction, as well as what it takes to heal it. And we certainly unpacked a lot in those 90 minutes together. Addiction, as you know by now, is a highly complex area, just as complex as we are as human beings. But the short answer that I gave to David is this, that addiction, as with everything else in our lives, is at a minimum a body, mind, spirit phenomenon. Just to take one piece of it, the body. Think what happens, for example, if you ask a medical doctor how he or she understands addiction, how do you think they might respond? Medicine, after all, focuses on the body, right? And the doctor will be approaching the body, exploring it. For example, the phenomenon of addiction, will be exploring that scientifically. That is to say, they use scientific or objective measurements to categorize and quantify what's going on in the brain and other biological functions so that they can understand how it is that addiction affects our bodies. When you stop and think about it, only that which can be observed, measured, or described in numbers really counts as relevant to the doctor who's wanting to explain or help us understand addiction. Do this today. When you look at your own addictive behaviors, it can be addiction to a substance, can be addiction to another behavior. For example, overeating, overspending, even overworking. Ask yourself this, how does this focus on your body help make sense of what's going on in your addiction? For example, perhaps you're more prone to act addictively when you're physically exhausted, or maybe when you haven't eaten for too long of a spell. See what you come up with, okay? And come back tomorrow, because we're going to continue to explore this. We're going to expand into looking at mental and spiritual and other relevant perspectives as we look at addictions from this holistic body-mind perspective. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a good day.